hunters 20%, no droids, bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Disney sequel trilogy fans of any kind. We don't do that here. They're not allowed. I am your scoundrel scheduler, your Wookiee wrangler, your chaos coordinator. I own this bar. I am the cantina manager, and welcome to the cantina. Yesterday, Doomcock posted a thing that I did some checking on my own. I went through back through all the way back through all the rumors, not just recent stuff, but like last year. And part of me, very little part, but I am going to say this, because I've known people like the Bobs. I'll just be right back. I've known people like the Bobs. And I know that guys in those situations can be sociopaths, and they want to get their way. Good morning, Sin and Dave. And when people under them are incompetent, behave in a fashion that is, dare I say, a detriment to the company and to the legacy of the boss, they get mad. And so Kennedy being told to get her shit together doesn't surprise me. My thing is, when did it happen? See, if you listen to what Doomcock said, he's been holding this bit of information for a while. Now, I am going to tell you something else. He doesn't put stuff out there for for no good reason. He even said it. He tells the truth, etc., and I go and look to see if what he's saying makes any sense. And all right, from a common sense standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a pragmatic standpoint, seeing somebody like a CEO or a chairman of the board ripping an underling a new asshole for incompetence and for doing things they're not allowed to do, it makes sense to me. But you have to remember that there was a rumor from last summer. We heard about it, I think, last fall. Yeah, I do too, Sin and Dave. And the reason simply is this. It rings too clearly of something that happened apparently last summer, July the 3rd. And I remember that day very well, thinking there's something weird going on here. It just, you wake up sometimes in the morning and you're like, and she basically was called to the carpet by the money guys. So this looks like an old rumor. Her hiring of Leslie Headland, that was what, last year? Okay, so that was one. But now we have Gina. We have her inability to control her underlings, and we get this new leak where she's saying, "Oh, I couldn't wait to see John take over Lucasfilm and blah blah blah." Okay, fine. That goes against everything that you believe in. Yeah, and I find it fascinating, and I don't know what this means, but I was on the Echo Base Network Facebook page, and if Nick or Coach are here, maybe they can jump in and say what's going on. But Nick doesn't think she's coming back. Nick said she's not coming back. Now, Nick is closer to drunk than I am, but I don't see, the only person that would really know for sure of all the fans is Drunk 3PO. And if she said anything to him, he would not betray that trust at all. That would be a conversation between him and her, and that would be it. Because, again, just because she met a bunch of those people, including Matt Kadish, who I would keep far away from her if I was drunk, because I don't trust the guy. she wouldn't, there, she trusts him. I wouldn't trust anybody else. So a lot of people are saying they don't think she's going to come back, but I think it's mostly they're projecting how they feel onto her. And she knows how much the fans want her back. Disney knows how much the fans want her back. Favreau wants her back for the good of what he's been doing. And when I see her stuff, her merchandise showing back up in the stores, it's a big goddamn deal. Now they're the little ones. Mike Sidious himself said that you know, they didn't discontinue the vintage ones, but that doesn't make any sense because when somebody tried to buy one, hey old redneck nerd, when somebody tried to buy one of the vintage ones, that cashier at Walmart said they're not for sale, they're not in the system, put it back. So yeah, there's something at least going on with Gina. But going back to yesterday's rumors, you know, I have to say this after working with people who are bosses, who are top dogs. A lot of them are sociopaths. I work for one. Not my congressman. He's the greatest guy in the world. None of the chiefs of staff were that way either. The guy I went to work for is a lawyer, a sociopath. Okay, they don't get everything they want immediately. They absolutely have a shit fit, and everything. It's narcissism. You have to be a certain kind of person to even want to be a lawyer. Being a labor lawyer, it's like, all right. I worked for the Department of Labor. I was an appointee to that, and my boss was a Senate hearing appointee from the Bush administration, and they called him the barking dog. He was just, you know, he was kind of like the male version of Miranda Priestley, only not as talented. Okay, there wasn't a reason for him to be the way he is, or he was. Okay, think about it. And when you're a CEO, and I've heard things from, I've heard things about Iger, that he is definitely a sociopath, and I know he has a temper. Now, which Bob was Doomcock referring to? Because he didn't specify. I would think the Bob that's really pissed off at her has got to be Iger. And the reason is this. It's not really even Chapek's legacy right now that's in danger. It's Iger's. Iger was the one that wanted to buy Lucasfilm. Iger's the one that invested all that money. Iger's the one that's seeing his investment blow up in his face. All right. That's bad. And the fact that, I love it, the fact that this guy says, it only lost $30 million. No, it lost billions. Okay, billions. This person was trying to talk about the movies, $30 million. Solo alone lost $250 million. Okay, you can't, again, they don't know how to do the books. They do not know, whoever this is, doesn't really understand anything about money at all. It's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I was this guy. Here's how you do it. You know how to do it. Okay, I'm not even going to explain it. Good morning, House of Atreides. Yeah, well, for a liberal or somebody who, you know, isn't really that talented, yeah, Senator Dave, you're right. Math is hard. You know, my friend Dan Watanabe, Kitong Sensei here on YouTube, I had a rant about the Oscars. And the problem with what Kennedy did, because she's not despite what people want to believe, who love her. And I can name thousands, even in the fandom menace, who think she's still the greatest, who think she's still the most powerful woman in Hollywood. And she's not anymore. I can't, for the life of me, think that her reputation hasn't taken a major hit. I don't know where people get that from. All right, I don't. It boggles the mind. Anyway, the thing behind me is my dog. He found his elk antler, so he's in bliss right now. Anyway, so you know, Joanne, we're talking about Star Wars right now. There's not a whole lot we can do about Arizona, so keep that shit off here. Thanks, Dave. You know, look, if that election, I burn myself out on politics. All right. If that election is proven to be a fraud, fine. Let's audit Georgia, both the presidential and the Senate race. Let's audit here in Pennsylvania. Let's audit Wisconsin, and let's audit Michigan. Okay. Until then, I don't. And until we get answers for all those, I have no fucks to give. Okay? You know, because I'll tell you something. We had a chance to keep this country happy and free. And when it came time for the shit to hit the fan, no one did it. All right? No one did a goddamn thing. We watched it on TV. And we complained on the internet. I'm done. Okay? Until I see people actually getting up to do something and not mere rallies either. House Atreides, her reputation. Let me explain how Hollywood works. It doesn't matter what you know. It matters who you know. And the same thing in politics in Washington. Okay? I am interested in how she got to where she got to, but when you look at how she got to, again, where she got, it wasn't what she knew or what she did. It's who she knew, starting with John Milius, then Steven Spielberg, then George Lucas, and Zemeckis, and Martin Scorsese, and Clint Eastwood, and all these people, okay? Anytime she was ever successful, it wasn't because she herself had anything to do with it. It was that she was latched on like a wood tick to the creative geniuses behind Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. And, you know, she just rode along. And she obviously has some talent, I guess, enough to give Lucas the idea he could trust her. And he thought he could. What he didn't realize is that, unlike him, she's a political fanatic and an ideologue, none of which make good artists. And she didn't give a shit about the franchises she was working on. Oh, you know, it is ironic, but see, here's the deal. I tend to agree with Tom Connors when he says she never knew it. She doesn't really know what's going on. She's not there every day. You know, Pablo Hidalgo has worked for Lucasfilm for 20 years. All right, almost 20 years. He got a bit part. He played an alien in Return of the Jedi or Revenge of the Sith. Okay, so he's been there for a long time. I have a feeling that he befriended her, that he sort of cultivated that relationship, and then well, yeah, that too, but I'm not. Oh, hey, Dominique. Old redneck, if she was gonna play that game, she would have. I don't see it. I think it's more of, you know, she gets, like was said, they give her a way out, she'll take it, fine, and then then it's freedom, okay, for the franchise. So, she'll sign an NDA, they'll pay her a lot of money, if she, and she'll be getting checks every once in a while. If she violates the NDA or there's a leak, she gets no money and she'll probably get taken to court. That's the way they do it. Okay, that's the way they do it. But going back to what Doomcock said yesterday, so I can actually see Iger absolutely having a shit fit on her because the guy has a temper, he's a sociopath, and it just makes sense. Chapek looks like the kind of guy that would say, okay, I'm done. Get the fuck out of here. All right. It's just really interesting. Now, I'm going to tell you something about this leaker. He sounds an awful lot like a fake leaker that I knew a couple years ago before TFA came out. On Twitter, he wasn't really a leaker, but he's sort of somebody who cultivated the anti-Raylos. His name was King of Peons. And now I'm convinced he was somebody at Lucasfilm just causing trouble. There's another guy who called himself Daily Plunge. And when Pablo got into a lot of trouble with Star Wars Theory, that account went away. And this account stalked me everywhere, all over the place. Okay, I think that was him. Now, I'm not going to say that the person who put this out there is Hidalgo, but it sounds too familiar to me. So I say grain of salt with this. I give this thing about 25% chance of being true because it echoes something that happened last summer. And it's an old rumor for a long time. Now, Kennedy makes a deal with Hedlund. Kennedy does it behind the Bobs' backs. The Bobs are pissed. Then is discovered that there is a JJ cut, that it probably is better than the cut that we got of Tross. It can't save the sequel trilogy, but it probably is better. And the money got, and Kennedy was the one that killed it and ordered more ordered reshoots. That would piss people off, so that's another strike. Her hiring and firing of directors, just the hiring of Lord and Miller, who had no business directing a Star Wars movie, is mind-boggling in my opinion. Okay, mind-boggling. The reason why is this: you're essentially directing a space western. You're essentially directing something that should have grit to it, should have symbolism. It should be dripping with all these things that are tacitly part of what westerns are. But it's set with spaceships. Okay, fine. She hires the guys that did the Lego movie. What? This is a problem. No one says anything. Bob Iger, before, she does it and she's talking about it, doesn't say, hey, Kathy, what? No. No, we need someone who's an actual director. What about Ridley Scott? Oh, I can't deal with him. Why? Well, he wants to do his own thing and we'll have creative differences. This is the problem. Her ego and her stupidity. Okay. Strike two, Solo, that whole fiasco with that. Strike three, Gina. And I'm going to say this. The thing about the Indiana Jones thing, and this is something I was thinking even about writing down, because I think it's very important to talk about it. I don't think she has any, from what I heard earlier, I don't think that she's allowed anywhere near Indiana Jones as far as the script and, the idea that they put the kibosh on it while they're still casting people. I don't know. I don't think he would do that because that's not his. Westerns are a genre, but he's never really done anything sci-fi or fantasy. Ridley Scott would be the better choice. Robert Rodriguez would have been a better choice. Well, the rumor this is what I heard, is that he took a rough cut. And again, I'm going to be one of the few people saying that George Lucas did have something to do with filming it. And I'll give you the reason why I think that in a minute. And JJ took the rough cut to the execs. Kennedy was incensed because it wasn't what she wanted. And, ordered 40% reshoots. They were reshooting right up until almost November. Okay. George had something to do with this. George was part of the writing team. I've been told by people who've been right before that he was there. He was actually doing, they're doing camera work. Okay, so what I think, the reason why I think that is because every premiere of every Star Wars movie since he sold to Disney, he showed up to. He did not show up to this. Okay, let's go back to what Doomcock said about Spielberg. And, this is his theory, that Kennedy's trying to cuck Indiana Jones. So I don't think she has anything to do with Indiana Jones. And Spielberg walked away. Creative differences. No. That's not why he walked away. You don't go after, or you don't hurt. If you're anything, if a guy's best friend is getting screwed over, he's going to side with his best friend. And Kathy doesn't understand that in the scheme of things, her relationship with Spielberg matters zippo de pippo. She wasn't there in the late 60s following Francis Ford Coppola around with Lucas, and I think Robert Zemeckis and Brian De Palma and all these guys were following Coppola around like a gaggle of little ducks all over Warner Brothers lot. Let me tell you, the newspaper scene in The Godfather, George Lucas was the one that put that together and filmed it. Okay? He had his fingers in that, and in Apocalypse Now, etc. You don't get in between them. They've been friends for decades. Good friends. Okay? You might even call them brothers. Okay? When she screwed him over and basically removed Matt Smith, who I'm now sure was playing the son of Mortis, when she did that, when she wanted that Raylo kiss so bad. Hey, Matt Piranha, she wanted that Raylo kiss so bad. And JJ didn't want to put that in. JJ didn't want anything to do with it. You know, Raylo isn't Star Wars, and they know it. Okay, it's bad fan fiction. It's kind of like the Stoned Republic. Okay, it's like, what the fuck is this? She wanted it because she's an idiot, Raylo, and it was part of the reshoots. And if you see that scene, "Good morning, Valiant Renegade," hello, you can tell it's not part of the movie. So, yeah, I think that Lucas was part of trying to save the sequel trilogy with filming of Tross. And I'm gonna say this right now, here right now. I think that she got pissed off that he was part of it. I do think that she's trying to rewrite history and turn it into she did Star Wars and George Lucas didn't. I agree with that. But now, again, let's go back to these rumors. They're old. It looks like to me somebody came in and decided to put this out there, but what they did is it dragged stuff up that we'd already been told 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Okay, so these aren't, you know, is there something going on? Yes. When you've got Gina's merchandise showing back up on store shelves, when you've got this weird leak from Reddit, when you've got the story group barely tweeting anymore, at least the ones I can see, that's a big goddamn deal. Okay. It really, really is. And I don't know. I mean, when I think about it, and honestly, when I look at it now, it could all be true. I mean, this all could be true. Legends books being re-released. Are you kidding me? She said there wasn't any source material. Really? So I think a lot of it, again, has to do with the Gina thing. But let me go back to what I was talking about with Raiders of the Lost Ark, or Indiana Jones. I think Kennedy went around their backs again to get Waller-Bridge. I don't think she had anything to do with it. I don't think she's supposed to have anything to do with, Indiana Jones 5. Because I'd been told it was taken away from her. But as far as Indy being shelved, as Doomcock put out that rumor, no, it's not. They hired Matt Nicholson. They hired what's his name, Kreshman. These are not small actors. All right. I think, and everybody going, oh, they're going to give it to a woman. No. Shut up. Just shut up. Stop projecting what you think is going to happen and look at the evidence. Yeah, well, Valiant. I want to address that. I think what we're going to get is, if we hear anything about Kennedy leaving, it's going to be a slow, quiet goodbye. She might already be gone. They just haven't said Kathleen Kennedy is resigning, retiring, and she's going off to do her own thing, which is basically what they're going to say. We will, however, hear, because they won't be able to keep it a secret, about the story group leaving. Okay. And I really, to be honest, I don't think Disney would get hurt too bad at that story group if it was announced that they were all fired or laid off. They could use, we can't afford it anymore. The money's not there. We can't afford your salaries. I heard somewhere, and you guys are going to vomit. Excuse me for this. You guys are going to vomit. Pablo Hidalgo makes a 7-figure salary. Well, they might be, Valiant, they might be. But I guarantee you there are clauses in those contracts. There are clauses in those contracts that say XYZ, because if you look at what Pablo had to do after he went after Star Wars Theory, that was huge. Him being forced to apologize, that's not a small thing. That's another thing. Okay, that's another thing. That's an indication. Because Kennedy never would have made him apologize. And it's really interesting. Yeah, he makes a seven-figure salary. Think of the money Disney could have saved if they didn't pay that. I mean, he makes way more than my husband, and my husband is a Marine Corps, 30-year Marine Corps veteran. He retired as a colonel. Oh yeah, but thing about it, Valiant Renegade, is that they're still loud. They're still trying to push it. They're still, you know, and here's the deal. Disney has to realize they owe the public something for all this shit. Okay? And it would be nice to hear, yes, Pablo Hidalgo has been let go. And I don't mean he's leaving, he's in retirement. I mean let go. Okay, I might just pop the champagne cork on that news alone, to be honest. That guy, and Cameron just laughs whenever Pablo gets mentioned, and I'm like, he has caused more trouble. And honestly, even Tom said he's been told by people, it's Pablo Hidalgo who's mostly causing all the trouble. Kennedy is too incompetent to even realize what's going on. That alone gets her fired. That alone should be you're gone. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. But Hidalgo is the problem. All right. He is the linchpin in all this. And that leak from Reddit is pretty much her throwing him under the bus. All right. But again, he makes, yeah, I mean, and you're right about that. And what was the story that he went after, was mocking Gina's sister for getting COVID, and Gina basically made him cry like a little bitch. So he ran to Mama Kennedy. Okay. He's a crybaby. You know, I mean, they need someone who walks in like General Patton. Remember the scene where Patton takes over the army in North Africa? And there's a guy asleep and he kicks him in the ass? Yeah, that. Walks into the locker room where the guys are standing around and sees a pinup girl picture and takes it down. They need that. This Lucasfilm needs that. You know, they need someone who is like, spare me the bullshit. What are you doing? Okay. Anybody come in here prepared today. All right. They need that. They need that. They need someone who is going to, you think so? I you know, I'm we've got until the 4th, May 4th coming, and I thought, I'm still hoping we hear something. But, like that rumor from Reddit said, we're going to be hearing a lot of leaks and everything, la-di-da. And if that, I do believe that came from Kennedy's desk. I do believe that. She is trying to recoup her reputation. And again, someone show me where she hasn't taken a hit as far as her reputation goes. All right, someone show me where that happened. Because I don't see it. Okay? I don't know. I mean, I would really hope that they, no, they Disney Plus numbers, unless they can really come up with a plan that is worthy, to get people to come back and watch. You know, I really think that getting someone in that loves Star Wars, I mean, God, I'd send that word to Rick McCallum for crying out loud. Do you want to come back? Because from what I heard back in the day, McCallum, if someone came up with a stupid idea, he'd shoot him down. I mean, they would never even get to George. He was like the gatekeeper. No, get that shit out of here. You know, that means a lot. And then about a few months before the sale happened, McCallum just said, "Fuck it, I'm done." Well, yeah, it would be a start. My problem with all this stuff with Story Group is I still see Matt Martin saying he's a Story Group guy. I still see Chrissy Pissy Hidalgo saying she still works for Lucasfilm. Yes, Pablo's wife is the localization director in San Francisco for Lucasfilm. I want you all to understand Lucasfilm does not really need that. That's a position in a department you could save a lot of money by completely eliminating. Okay? All right. I don't get it. All right. I don't. What other studio has that? Only liberals in San Francisco would waste the money on shit like that. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah, she's still there. I mean, when I went to go look at her Twitter account, I found a lot more on Google. And I think it's still so funny that the guys at Midnight's Edge didn't know he was married. Wait, he's married? Oh, it's just local outreach. I mean, it's just local. It's just it's basically bringing civilians in and if I was, hey man, I come in like Miranda Priestley, spare me the stories of your incompetence. Okay, they would hate my guts. They would be afraid of me. I, so yeah, I give the rumor a 25% thing. There's stuff that rings true, but it didn't specify which Bob freaked out. And I know for a fact that Iger's got a temper like a buffalo bull. If you even look at him wrong, he freaks out. So I can see him being the one going, ah, you know. It's just a lot of. It just seems like, again, it sounds like someone I knew on Twitter that caused a lot of problems. That stalked me around, the Daily Plunge person who, like I said, that this that it was daily. It was an account called the Daily Plunge, or Daily Plunge. And it was a picture of John Wayne as Ethan Edwards from The Searchers, and when Paulo got in trouble with Star Wars Theory, that account disappeared. Now, I had actually thought it was somebody else. And to be honest, I thought it was somebody within the Fandom Menace that I've had trouble with before. And I'm not going to say who it was, but he is a very, I don't like this guy. He's, doesn't have much of a personality, but he sends out little trolls at people. And, you know, He gets way too many kudos that he doesn't deserve. And some shit went down with him that hurt a friend of mine really badly. And my friend was really, really sick. And I don't carry grudges. I really, really don't. But I carry a grudge for that. And there's never been an apology for that shit. Okay? I'm not going to say what it was, but if you've been on here long enough, you know who I'm talking about and you know what happened. Okay? I know Dave Pensack knows what I'm talking about if he shows up here. Maze definitely knows. Okay? But I'm not going to say who or what. But it's just this. You need to look at the background of people when they say, I know what's going on, and this, and this. And I'm going to tell you, if someone asked me what was going on in Washington, D.C., because I used to work there, but I left in 2003, in December, right after Christmas, I'd say I have no idea. I don't have those contacts anymore. Okay, my experience with politics is now I do still have friends that work in it, but it's not the same thing. Okay, I'm not involved. I personally couldn't handle the stress. Okay, I got all kinds of health problems because of it, because working in politics, because anxiety issues. I don't like things not happening the way they should. If you're not going to tell me what's going on, or you do it half-assed, I'm really going to get pissed off. And I saw that everywhere. The only place I didn't really see it was in the congressional office I worked in, because our boss is great. Dick Armey is, I think, the finest congressman Congress ever had. But don't ask me about Biden. I saw him once a long time ago. That doesn't make me an expert, okay, on Joe Biden. I saw John Kerry. I said hello to Joe Lieberman. I got a stare down from Ted Kennedy once. Big deal. I don't know these people. I don't know who's there anymore. I'm actually much closer in knowing what's going on with the Trump people than I am with actual DC people. And I'll tell you something else. The people in DC that I knew, Paul Ryan, fucked us over. Okay, fucked us over. Okay, think about it. Okay, so when someone says, "Hey, Maze," when someone says, "I worked in film," go look up their IMDb page. Oh, it was way more than $33 million. It was the movie's net box office value was probably about $2 billion. And Disney invested, I think, $7 billion. And they should have had, Doomcock said it. They expected $12 billion out of Star Wars within 8 years. And it just, that alone is cause for firing people, right? Just get the fuck out of here. But anyway, if someone says, I did movies, look up their IMDb page. If they quit Hollywood, if they last time they worked in Hollywood, and Maze knows who I'm talking about, their last time was in 2012. No, they don't know what the fuck is going on in Hollywood. Hollywood is completely different now. Hollywood in 2012 started this trip into SJW land. And I'm going to tell you, the way the Oscars looked, they're going to have to leave SJW land in the dust. And I'm going to take a very different tack from Yellow Flash. I don't want to see the Oscars die. I don't want to see the film industry die. I don't hate Hollywood. I don't hate the film industry. There are people there that I hate that shouldn't be involved because they're not artists, they're not creative, they're political hacks, and they're only there to make propaganda. And, the last time Hollywood put out good propaganda, Louis B. Mayer was president of Metro Golden Mayer of MGM. Okay? That's the last time. And that was during World War II. All right? KK? No, it wasn't 11 years. It'll be 10 years next year. It's 9 years this October. But I don't want to see something that is quintessentially part of our culture. We gave the film industry to the world. We did, America. Moving pictures were started here in the United States. All right. The cinematograph. Thomas Edison. All right. When you look at the directors, the old school golden era directors, John Ford started in the early 20s, maybe even in the late teens after World War I, in silent pictures. A lot of them did. We owe them, there's a legacy there. And to see people like Pablo, like Elizabeth Banks, who's the stupidest female on the entire planet. In fact, her stupid is bigger than Brie Larson's stupid. Okay, how's that? My last exposure to Elizabeth Banks was, I'm watching the interviews coming out of The Rise of Skywalker, horrified. And she bounces over to the interviewer going, the kiss, it was so great. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, shoot me now. Just shoot me now. I've never seen anybody so fucking stupid in my whole fucking life. No words aplenty here. I just, it's people like that. It's people like, it's people like that. It's people like Pablo. It's people like his wife. It's people like Rosanna Arquette, who's, God, she's my age, and she looks like shit, whining about being white. First off, let me explain Rosanna Arquette. Her little brother, who was a cross-dresser and then stopped, who died of AIDS, sadly. She comes from that family, that Arquette family. Her brother, David Arquette, was married to Courtney Cox. Courtney basically married a guy less masculine than her. This family is fucked up. Okay? They're all nuts. They're all insane. Okay? Whining about being white. Even Lauren Bacall, who was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, even Humphrey Bogart wouldn't be that fucking stupid. Okay? Why? It's people like that need to not be working in Hollywood. Okay? They need, all right. There are actors and actresses, who aren't involved in Hollywood anymore. And they're happier. I really honestly think that if you are, and part of it is they're not getting the roles. They're not getting, they get to a certain age, they haven't taken care of themselves before, they're starting to look kind of like they're going to seed, and they can't deal with it anymore. They've done too many drugs, they probably had abortions that didn't really do good for their, a lot of Marilyn Monroe's problems was she had illegal abortions and couldn't have children. And that's all she ever wanted was children. And, Cameron Diaz quit, for crying out loud. There's a time and a place. Go find something else to do. But there are people in Hollywood that don't need to be there. Sean Penn, great actor, total dickhead. Okay, what has he contributed lately? Okay, but you look at the younger set, the younger ones, like my friend Dan Watanabe, who basically said it is not just the big stars who are untouchable that are doing this. It's the stars going all the way down to Brie Larson. Shut the fuck up. Okay? You are hurting the industry. And the people at fault are the people that run it. And they're finding it out now. But they don't know how to stop it. My opinion, because I always have one, is this. Tell them to stop. Do it. Just tell them no more. Managers have to tell actors and actresses, no one gives a shit what you think. Okay? You're an actor. I mean, Harrison Ford even said it a long time ago. I'm an actor. Who cares what I think about politics? Okay? I mean, and he has his causes, climate change and the environment. Okay. I can understand that. But he doesn't go out there beating the drum, making a total prick of himself to where people hate him. Okay. Now, there are people, I've run into several at, Breitbart when I used to do stuff there, that would get pissed off and you have an airplane, blah, blah, blah. It's like, look, you know what? Pointing out people's hypocrisy, big deal. Okay, fine. Makes you feel better. A lot of times, the people that are the angriest are people that failed in the film industry. They're the people that failed. All right. This is why, again, you gotta watch who's saying what. Again, amazed if you're still here. If someone says, "I worked in Hollywood," go look and see, are they still there? If they're a year away, all right, listen to them. If there's more than 5 years, then don't listen to them. Don't. I mean, when I'm looking at somebody's IMDb page and I see one short film and then just a lot of, and then it stops in 2012 because they left, I'm like, you're not an expert. I don't need to listen to you. Okay. Like I said, I can't speak about politics in Washington right now. So, and I don't. I know it's corrupt. I saw it myself. Okay. A lot of the players that I used to admire screwed us over. Okay. But as far as knowing the day-to-day stuff and knowing the story mill, knowing the rumor mill, I don't know and I don't care. All right. And knowing how things work, so when someone says, blah, blah, blah is this and blah, blah, it's not. And the reason simply is this. You aren't an expert. You aren't there anymore. You don't know how things work, how things have changed. Okay, how things are still changing. Okay, so please, go pretend to be an expert to your little band of merry assholes. Okay, because I don't want to hear about it. All right, we don't need to hear about it. Let me explain. It's very hard to cultivate sources. It's very hard to protect them. You have to be really, really sharp and really, really focused. Okay. One of my sources came out in public, and we all know who he is. It's just very interesting to me that, we've got the stuff going on now where, people are being accused of lying, and they're not. They're not. And it's not just by people in the SJW community who will shit their pants when they see, Jason Solo and Jaina Solo show up. even though they would like that story, it's not just them, it's people in the fandom menace. And yeah, I hold a grudge on that shit. I really, really do. Because I'm loyal to my friends. I don't see any problem with that. But as far as like the rumor that Doomcock put out there, 25% accurate. I'm not giving it any more, but I wanted to address it because it was interesting. And he put it out there for a reason. I don't know what the reason is. I haven't even theorized a reason. But he put it out there, and I think to see what else was going to happen. There are going to be more things coming out. This is a big goddamn deal. As the weeks go on. And what's really funny is how quiet Star Wars Twitter has been, even after they started tweeting again. All right. How quiet the story group is. All right. I just want to. Okay, how's Heraclides? I'll see you later. Maybe I'll see you on Midnight's Edge this afternoon. It's just really interesting, and we gotta keep focused. But look at what we know in the public. We got that Reddit thing. We've got the Gina toys being brought back. Her Bear Grylls episode, Running Wild, is back. I mean, the idea that there's nothing going on is ridiculous. I think people almost need the negativity. I don't know why. It's not me. I have to look at things pragmatically and practically. Okay, and I'm sorry, but I don't see how Kennedy's Miss Popular anymore. I just don't. So, but I also think that you remember my theory, and then I gotta go because I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over to Target. The Target. I'm gonna do a trip between both Targets and just see what's going on. But remember, the story group will be announced gone, or we're gonna hear something definitive and officially about them. And a Pablo probably, and then she'll go off on a float. All right. But as far as the Indiana Jones thing, I'm going to reiterate, that movie was never shelved because they're still casting people. Anyway, and by the way, Harrison Ford just did a 1,000-mile bike ride between Tijuana and Cabo San Lucas. 80 hours. He looks great. Steph, sending out. I'll see you around the galaxy. And remember, hit the like button. We need likes here. It helps the algorithm.